All right, it's 7:37. Let's go to the phone. Representative Aderholt is with us. And good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Doing well.
Listen, I know you don't have a whole lot of time, but we just wanted to touch base with you real quick.
Sure.
We understand that the president is going to be meeting with you guys about your ideas on the economic recovery plan. Is that right?
Exactly. At noon today, President Obama is coming over to the Capitol and meeting with the House Republicans, and I'm sure it'll be a delight to hear what he has to say, but at the same time, I'm sure he'll be getting some comments from members of the Republican conference as well.
Now, you guys are putting forth some ideas too, right?
We are, and of course, one thing that Republicans are mainly concerned about is the amount of spending that's in the stimulus package, and of course, as you know, right now the number is somewhere around $825 billion in this stimulus package that the president. Matter of fact, the House leaders want to bring it to the floor tomorrow, so this is on a fast track. But some of the things that the Republicans want to do, in addition to as far as tries to cut down some of the spending that's in this stimulus package. And let me say, the Republicans believe that, we need to do something for the economy. It's not something that we can sit back and just hope that things get better. We realize that there's problems in the economy and things need to be done, but the things that can be done that without the enormous spending that the Democrats in Congress right now are pushing. One of the things that we as Republicans are an idea that's been put forward is to try to propose a immediate tax relief for working families, and what that would be in the form of is rather than a refundable credit based on payroll taxes, the Republicans would like to see some proposal where you reduce the individual tax rates from 15% to 10%, and where they're 10%, reduce those down to 5%. And this would actually, my understanding, come to an average benefit about $500 in tax relief for those in the 10% income tax bracket, and $1,200 for drop in the 15% tax bracket. And if a married couple jointly, that could save up to $3,200 a year in taxes. The other proposal that Republicans are putting forward is try to help small businesses. As you know, small businesses are defined as those that employ 500 individuals or less, and they employ half of all Americans. It's not the big corporations in America. It's these smaller businesses that really need the help, and they are subject to enormous tax rates. And so we could allow these small businesses to take a tax deduction equal to 20% of their income. Then that would reduce the tax burden on them and help them to free up to hire new employees and stimulate the economy as well from that angle.
And you're also looking at no increase in tax spending too, right? In tax increases.
Yes, right, exactly. What we want to make sure that there's tax increases that will have to pay for the stimulus. As you know, right now that the Democrats are looking at raising taxes to pay for this spending plan, and House Republicans believe that any stimulus spending should be paid for by reducing government spending itself as opposed to raising taxes.
So not only would we have the debt, but our taxes would be raised to pay for it.
Exactly. And of course, and this is right now we have a $1 trillion deficit this year and a $10.6 trillion national debt. And with that, it is just, adding up which I have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old, and of course, they'll be saddled with this debt for years to come, and probably not only them, but their children as well. Well,
now, do you think the president is going to be open to hearing your proposals?
That's a good question. I think he will. I think he wants to reach out to Republicans and to hear what they have to say. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that there's going to be a lot of. We're going to gain a lot of ground with the president. I'm afraid that the people that he has around him has already made up their minds. But at the same time, I applaud the president for coming to the Republican conference and speaking to us and at least hearing us out. I think that is a great gesture for him to do. So certainly, I'm not want to say anything negative about his coming to the Republican conference, because I do think that's a noble thing to do. But at the same time, unfortunately, I know that he's got a lot of people around him that have this tax package in mind to increase the taxes on Americans that would pay for this stimulus package, and I think, but hopefully, there's maybe some things that can be said today that will cause him to rethink, or at least to compromise on some of the things that he's looking at doing right now.
Well, what do you think about some of the I know the infrastructure spending is only about, $100 billion? And well, the rest is pretty much, I don't know about grass on the Washington Mall and
right.
Contraceptives.
Well, the contraceptive thing is something that I think is just a lot of people. I was just talking to an individual yesterday that I ran into. He was getting coffee, and he was saying when he heard what was going on with this contraceptive issue, he just couldn't believe it that actually that would be in the stimulus package. But the one thing that the Republicans are very concerned about too is the fact that that a lot of this is not going to take effect immediately. This the package as planned by the president is not going to go into effect until quite a few, actually over a year from now. So we're doing a lot of this spending, and a lot of this is like on these infrastructure projects, and a lot of it is not even going to help for at least probably a year and a half down the road, and we need immediate relief. And that's one of the things that I think it's Senator McConnell, who is, of course, the minority leader on the Senate side. I think one thing that he said that probably summed it up very, very succinctly. He said it needs to be timely, it needs to be temporary, it needs to be targeted. And I think that's a real good test of how we need to apply to what we're doing.
Can you count on the Blue Dogs to vote with you guys?
It'll be interesting to see. Of course, the Blue Dogs have discussed the debt and the mountain of debt that we've been under, and we have spent on a lot of spending over the past several years too, and that's under Republican administration. As you know, the war in Iraq was not cheap. The spending in Afghanistan was not cheap, and of course the attack on 9/11 really took a toll on the country as well. So we've had a lot of debt. We have spent a lot over the last several years, and that's a fact. And I think any Republican that denies that is not looking at reality. But at the same time, we have heard the Blue Dog Democrats talk for the last several years criticizing the amount of spending. So it'll be interesting to see what perspective they take now when, even more spending is on the watch of someone that's of the same political party they are.
Yeah, I tried to look up on their website and see what their position was, but it wasn't posted, so I'm not sure.
Well, like I said, it's if you take what the Blue Dogs have said for the last 2 or 3 years in criticizing Bush for the spending, I think that it's going to be very difficult for them now to come out and say all of a sudden that spending is not an issue.
In your opinion, what would be the quickest way to get some immediate response for some turnaround in the economy?
Well, certainly, if we can do some of these issues that I mentioned earlier about trying to get some tax relief that will be immediately for individual and working families, and also a lot of these small businesses, so they can keep their employees on. Of course, one of the main concerns that most Americans have right now is losing their jobs, and if businesses could be assured that they would not be saddled with this type of income that they have to pay to the federal government now because they're small businesses, and as a result of being a small business, then that could free up some money for them to make some capital investments, and also to keep their employees on. And I think that's the major concern of most Americans right now, is losing their job. The ones that have their job are concerned how long they'll be able to keep it. And so if anything that we can do to try to shore up that, I think would be a wise move on our part.
Great. Well, we look forward to talking to you later on this week, after we hear what the president says. Yeah, well, absolutely. And like I said, right now the House Republicans plan to meet today at noon that'll be Eastern time, with the president. And then, of course, tomorrow, right now, they've scheduled for the legislation to come on the House floor for a debate and, of course, for votes. So it'll be an interesting week here in Washington. It's snowing outside this morning, so it's going to be it's a beautiful winter day here in Washington. But
that's a good day for Al Gore to talk about global warming.
Well, it would be a perfect day. So we'll see what he has to say today about it.
Now, have they postponed that, by the way? Do you know? He was supposed to talk in Washington, I think, today, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, was he? Oh, wow, okay. Well, I was unaware that it was actually today, but it's actually there are a lot of school closings today because of the snow.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Would be very appropriate. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you, Congressman.
Bye-bye.
And
sorry, I couldn't help it.
I know. He's like, We'll talk to Congressman Aderholt later on in the week, find out what's happening, and we're going to be talking to Congressman Parker Griffin and find out, since he's a Blue Dog, he's in the Blue Dog Coalition, how he feels about it.
They got their stamp of approval.
Yeah, absolutely.